I got the opportunity to introduce my niece to General Aviation. She'd never been up in a small airplane and wanted to go. Just so happens I have access to one. I have access to a 1979 Grumman Tiger AA-5B. It's a 180 horse, 4-person airplane, which is more than capable of giving the introduction into flight. It's a club plane that's based out of Pearson Air Park in Vancouver, Washington. After the safety briefing, we loaded up, conducted the run-up, and got ready to take off on runway 26 out towards the coast. We were having a little radio trouble trying to get a hold of the Pearson advisory controller. But as soon as we did, we were cleared to stay out of the Charlie airspace and watch out for wake turbulence. As we took the runway, wanted to make sure we used all of the runway. We positioned so we were center line, last check of everything, we were ready to go. Full power, the airspeed came alive, plane sounded great, was handling beautifully. About 65 knots, give a little back pressure, and off we went. Right now my niece is all smiles. We depart next to the Columbia River, fly out over downtown Vancouver, out past Vancouver Lake, and headed down the Columbia River towards the coast. We encountered some bumps along the way, and I was afraid that my niece might get a little nervous. The analogy I used was being in a boat on the water, and when you encounter a wave, it makes the boat a little unstable. It's the same thing with different air currents. She appreciated the explanation. Once we got past Vancouver Lake, we got out of the Class Charlie airspace and were able to climb up above 1,100 feet. The plane was running beautifully. The weather was perfect. You could see forever. is us flying over the mighty Columbia River, headed out towards the ocean. I let my niece know that I was going to let her fly the plane a little bit too, and she quickly denied and said it was too scary. So I simply explained that I was just going to let go, and if she didn't fly, I wasn't sure who was going to. She took the controls like a champ, and then was nothing but smiles from ear to ear. As we flew along, we talked about different parts of aviation, emergency procedures, always looking out for an emergency landing area if we were to lose a motor. We continued down the Columbia River until we reached Astoria, Oregon. Astoria, Oregon has a large airport and a Coast Guard presence. It's actually where all of the bar pilots are staged to go out and meet the cargo ships that come in and up the Columbia River. We did a quick stop there, showed my niece around a little bit, and then it was time to take off again. Our next stop was Scappoose, Oregon. Scappoose has a one-runway airport there, and to be honest, the only reason we really stopped there is fuel was $1 cheaper there than it was back in my home airport. Anything to save a buck, I guess. As we come in on final on runway 33, it's a smooth landing and a taxi over to the fuel pumps. The other nice thing about getting fuel at Scappoose is it's not self-serve, and they come out and pump it for you. After we filled up with fuel, it was time to head home. We took off on runway 33 out of Scappoose. Headed back towards Pearson. The big white water tank in the distance makes a great visual reference. Getting into Pearson can be a little tricky. You come off about a 400-foot cliff, and it's right traffic for the pattern. The right traffic keeps us out of Portland International Airport's airspace. The runway is 3,200 feet long, so it's more than adequate for the Tiger. Made the runway without any problem, rolled the plane down to the last taxiway, got off, and my niece was all smiles. She said she had a great time and would love to do it again. If you ever get the chance to introduce somebody into General Aviation, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, I'm going to try and keep adding content to the channel. Click the subscribe button.